Okay, so this is Excel for statistics. This is still my 101 series. So in this video, we're going to talk about basic formulas, copying, dragging, moving, all that stuff. So I have a free Excel workbook. I'll drop a link to it in the description of the video, but you can also find it at divideandconquermath.com just in case I forget. So just to be clear also, so in this series, so far we've talked about basic formatting, basics of moving, copying, dragging, all that stuff, and now we're going to talk about basic formulas. So I would recommend that you know the previous video before you watch this one, just because I'm going to use some things that I talked about in the previous video. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, so in this workbook, I am now in the basic formulas tab, and so now we're going to talk about how basic formulas work. Okay, so first of all, Excel can do all kinds of calculations. What makes it so powerful is the fact that it has formulas. So let's say that I want to add the numbers 2 and 5. So to tell Excel that you want it to do some sort of operation, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to type the equal sign. Now, by the way, you'll notice that the formula gets entered here and up here in the formula bar. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in 2 plus 5. And so if I hit enter, okay, that gives me 7, of course it does. And so I've technically entered those two numbers, 2 and 5. But what makes Excel so much more powerful is that you can do these calculations by referencing cells. So if I hit enter, I can hit this cell here that has the 2 and then put in a plus and then hit this cell here. And now you'll notice also that it's color coded the two cells so that you can like easily track which two you're referring to. And if I hit enter, it gets me the exact same number. Now, if I were to click on this again, I can click on the formula bar and then you'll see that now it's color coded those cells. They're here, everything's all good. So we're all good to go. Okay, so that's addition. So just to kind of build on your intuition, part of my goal with this series is to make it so that you feel like you can make better guesses on what to do in Excel. I want you to reference this cell first and this cell second and try to do these operations. Just make your best guess, pause here, give it a try, and then hit play when you think you've got it. Okay, so to subtract, so I'm going to take this cell minus this cell. So I just plug in the minus sign. So I start with an equals. And then for the next one, so I've got equals. So for to multiply, I'm going to take 2 times this, and we're good to go. And then to divide, I'm going to take 2 divided by this. Okay, so those are subtract, multiply, and divide. So hopefully you've seen those signs before, and so they feel somewhat intuitive. Okay, so now to find the max. So to find the maximum, this is actually one of our first Excel, this is our first Excel formula really. So the formula to find a maximum between 2 and 5, obviously we know that 5 is the maximum, but how would we do that with a formula? Well, Excel has a lot of things named in a pretty obvious manner. So if I type the equal sign, so the next thing I can do is I can call a formula. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type max. And so in typing max, what you'll see here is now a list of formulas that Excel has built into it that involve max. And what you'll notice is with the first one, it says returns the largest value in a set of values. So this is obviously what we want, but you can also click through some of these other formulas and just see what else is there. Now, for this first one, what we're going to do is we're going to double click on that formula. And when I do that, so Excel brings me up this set of prompts. And so these prompts are here to help you, like if you ever make a guess on a formula, it gives you some context of what it's looking for. So it wants to know what numbers do you want me to look at to figure out the max. That's what this is basically saying. And so what we can do is we can give it a range of numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the white cross, I'm going to click the 2, I'm going to keep my finger on the mouse, and I'm going to drag over to the 5. Okay, so now I've selected these two. And now I am going to close the parenthesis. And so you can see, so from A2 to B2, so this is all highlighted in blue, so that all corresponds, and I can hit enter. Okay, so the other way that I can write a formula, so let's do this again for the minimum. So for the minimum, I'm going to type min. So you don't have to double click on this, okay? What you can do from your keyboard is just create an open parenthesis. This is a much more efficient way to go. And then again, you can just select whatever numbers you want it to look for the minimum and then close that and then hit enter. Now, in the event that you forget to close the parentheses, so let's say I just do this and then I hit enter, A lot of times Excel will either ask you if you want to close the parenthesis, or sometimes it'll just do it for you. So if you do something wrong, Excel will usually bark at you, and then you just have to kind of make a choice from there. Okay, so now let's talk about formulas and how they move, copy, all that good stuff. So formulas are draggable. So what we're going to do here is we're going to write a formula that adds the first column with the second column, and we're going to drag it. So I am going to reference the first column and the second column, and then I'm going to explore how this is draggable. Now, I talked about cells being draggable in the previous video, so I'm assuming you've watched that and kind of get that. So what I need to do is I need to find this little black cross, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this down. And so now this has auto-filled this in. So let's see, what did it actually do? So if I click on one of these random cells and then I click on the formula bar, so I can see that this has added up the first thing and the second thing in that row. So Excel will drag formulas around appropriately. This is like a whole other thing, so we're going to talk about this way more in other videos, but just for now, just know that these are draggable. Okay, so what if I now wanted to take this set of formulas and I wanted to move them over here? So this is where this gets kind of tricky, actually. The idea of moving, we have to be very careful with. So first things first, let's just try what would happen if I drag this over. So you might have a guess already as to what's going to happen, but let's take the little black cross here. Let's select all of these right here, and then let's drag this over one. And now, if I look at this, so one, it copied the formatting over. If I don't want it to copy over the formatting, I can say fill without formatting, and it will get rid of all that. Let's see. So that was down here. You can do that. Oops, sorry. So now if I click on what's happening here, so it moved all those formulas over one to the right. So now it's got this blank column that it's summing up. And it copied that all the way down. So you do want to be careful with like how you drag things, because you might drag things in a way that you didn't intend. So there's two other operations that I want to talk about. So what if I wanted to take this set of formulas and I wanted to just move them but leave them intact? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this blue box and we're going to move it into the orange box. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. So now I'm going to activate those black arrows like we did in the last video. So I've selected all of these, and now I'm going to move these down here. And so look what happened. None of the values changed. If I click on this, it's still referencing the same cells. So when you move, you will not change the formulas, okay? But now I want to take this and now I want to copy these formulas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the same set of formulas, and there's a couple ways on how you can do this. You can right click on this and you can click copy right here. If you have a Windows keyboard, you can hit Control C. I forget what the command is in a Mac, so if you don't know how to copy on a Mac keyboard, you might want to look that up. But okay, so I have copied these. I can tell that they're copied because I've got the little box going around. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this first box here in the gray area, and I'm going to paste. And so paste on a Windows computer is Control V, or I could right click and then I could hit paste. I can just hit paste here. Doesn't matter which way you want to do it. But you'll notice now what happened. So when I copy this, these aren't the same values, right? So what happened? So we can click on this to look at it. So when you copy, that will move your cell references. So when you move, moving will not change the cell reference, but copying will. And so this can take a little while to master understanding all of this. But the thing to take away right now at this moment with this video is that you just need to be careful about whether you're moving or copying, and always double check your cell references to make sure that it's doing what you wanted. If it's not doing what you wanted, then you like touched the cell in the wrong way, right? Like you moved it when you should have dragged it or whatever. Like hopefully you kind of get what I'm saying with this. So this is your crash course into this topic. And so this brings me to the end of my Excel 101 series of just kind of getting you started. So if you found this helpful, consider liking this video or hitting that subscribe button. And I hope to see you in another one of these series. I have lots more for free. You could just go to divideandconquermath.com. Everything's available for free. I hope to help you in the future. Bye.